Hi, I'm Sherry. Thanks for joining me here at the Little Beading Closet. And I want you to know that you can make this 3D treasure box ring. I'm obsessed with making them because they're really easier than they look, lots of fun, and pretty quick. Here's a brief overview of what you'll be learning in this tutorial. You begin by making these crystal embellished squares, and after making 3 of them, the next step will be to move on and turn them into the treasure box, finished with pearl accents. And this ring has an even count flat peyote band. And now let's take a close-up look at all of our supplies. Size 15 seed beads, size 8 seed beads, 3mm bicone crystals, 2mm pearls, and size 11 delica beads. And you'll need around 6 feet of thread. I'm using an 8-pound fire line on a size 12 beading needle. You begin by picking up 8 of the size 8 seed beads on your needle and bringing them down near the end of your thread. For this project, I like to add a knot right here, 2 times, pull tight, and then needle 2 beads away from your knot. You will need 4 size 15 seed beads, picking one up, needle through the next 2 size 8 seed beads, pulling that here, one more size 15 into the next 2 eighths, one more 15 into the next 2 eighths, and the last 15 coming through 2 eighths and exiting before the first 15 you added. I'm going to go ahead and trim off the tail. I want to retrace this unit coming through only the eighths, needling through 2 eighths, and then come through 2 more eighths, pulling the thread. The 15 sits in the corner, through the next 2 eighths, pulling tight, and back through the 2 eighths here, skipping the 15. Next, I'll pick up 115, 1 3mm bicone, 115 bicone, and one more 15. Needle into the 2 eighths here on this side, and pull the crystals diagonally across the top. Pick up one more 15 and one more bicone, and needle back through the size 15 seed bead here in the center, pulling everything tight. Might need to hold your work down and pull at the same time. And then one more bicone and one more 15. And needle up the 2 size 8ths. Here's the bottom, and we'll flip it over back to where we were at the top. We'll need to pick up 6 more of the size 8 seed beads, Needle back through the 2 size 8s that your thread is exiting. We're going to need 4 size 15s, one for each corner. Picking one up, might be easier just to turn it over. And needle through 2 size 8s. Pull that all tight. One more 15 through the next 2 8s. One more 15. Coming through 2 more 8s. And the last 15. Coming back up through the 2 8s. Next, you'll needle over here to this 8, coming through the top 2 8s, skipping the 15 and needling down the next 2 8s. Picking up our combination of 15s and bicones, coming down the 2 8s here, and pulling the crystals at a diagonal across the top. Picking up one 15 and one bicone, and then needling through the 15 in the middle of the crystals, and pulling it into place. One more bicone and one more 15, and needling down the 2 8s here on the end, pulling everything into place. Next, you need to pick up 6 more of your size 8 seed beads and needle back through the 2 size 8s here on the end that your thread is exiting. We'll be using 4 size 15s, one for each corner. Picking one up, come into the next 2 8s and pull that firmly into place. One more 15 into 2 more of the 8s, pulling firmly into place. One more 15 through 2 8s, and one more 15 down through the 2 8s here. Next, we're going to needle over here to this 8, skipping the 15s and only needling through the 8s, coming through 2 8s here and the 2 8s here on the end. Again, picking up our combination of size 15 seed beads and 3mm bicone crystals. We're going to needle through just the size 8s here and pull the crystals diagonally across the top. One 15 and one bicone, and then needle back through the seed bead here in the middle of the crystals, pulling them into place. One more crystal and one more seed bead. Needle up the 2 size 8s here on the end. Now we're going to look at this as a 4-sided cube. We have 3 sides done, and we just have to do the one side here. Pick up 2 of the size 8 seed beads, needle down the 2 size 8s on the other side, with 2 more size 8 seed beads, needle back up the 2 size 8s where we just started, and pull this into a square shape. Next, you need your 4 size 15s. Picking one up, needle through the first 2 8s, one more size 15 into the next 2 8s, pulling everything tight, one more 15 through the next 2 8s, and the last 15 Coming back up through these 2/8. Like before, let's go ahead and needle down here to this 8, coming through the 2/8 on top and down the 2/8 on the side. Sometimes you just need to get your thread around the 15. Picking up my last set of size 15 seed beads and 3mm bicone crystals, needling down the 2/8 on the opposite side, pulling that diagonally across the top, picking up one more 15 and one more bicone, needling through the 15, pulling that into place, one more bicone and one more 15, needling down through the 2 size 8s. And now you have your 4-sided cube. So coming out the 2 size 8 seed beads, we need to add one more crystal section on the top. I want my thread to be between the 2 size 15s, so I'm just going to pull it until it comes between the 2 size 15 seed beads, and then needle through 2 of the 8s. And you're going to do this just like before, picking up the same combination of size 15s and bicones, and then needling up the 2 size 8s on the opposite side, and pulling the crystals across the top. 1 15 and 1 bicone, needle through the 15 in the middle, one more bicone and one more 15, and needle back up through the 2 size 8s. Just pull everything tight. Let's get the thread in position to start adding the 2mm pearls coming out of the 2 size 8s. You're going to needle into the first 15 after it. Reverse direction with your needle and come into the 15 and the bicone below it. Needle up through the bicone and the 15. Pick up one of your pearls. Needle into the next 15 and bicone. And pull the pearl into place. Needle up the next bicone and 15, picking up another 2mm pearl, needle through the 15 and bicone, and pull the pearl into place. Needle up the next bicone and 15, picking up one more pearl, come into the 15 and bicone, and pull the pearl into place. Come up the next bicone and 15 with one more 2mm pearl, needle down through the next 15 and bicone, pull your pearl into place, To add the pearls down here near the base, needle down the next crystal in size 15. Picking up one pearl, repeating what we did at the top, coming into the next 15 and bicone. Needle down the next bicone in 15, picking up one more pearl, needling up the 15 and bicone, and then down the next bicone in 15, one more pearl, coming through the next 15 and bicone, down the next bicone and 15, the last pearl, into the next 15 and bicone. Go ahead and come back down your bicone and 15. The treasure box top is all complete. And we just have to add our band. The treasure box on top has so much going on that I want the band to be simple, and I'll do a flat even count peyote strip coming out of the 15 before the pearl. I'll needle back through the 15 to 8 and the next 15. Picking up 4 of the delica beads, needle back through the 15, the 2 8s, and the 15. That will start the band. And since this is where it attaches, let's do that one more time. Go through there. Back through your 15, 2 8s, and 15. And then through your 4 delica beads. And make sure that's all pulled tight. My thread is exiting the delica on the end. I'll pick up another one and not needling into the one on the end, but the next one up. Pulling it into place so they sit side by side. Picking up one more delica bead and needling into the delica here on this end. Picking one up, coming back through the one that's sticking out, picking one up, coming through the one on the end that's sticking out, picking one up, needling into this one here, One more. Back into the sticking out one here on the top. And just repeating my peyote stitch, picking one up and coming into the next sticking out. Through here. Picking one up and working my way back up. So you just continue working until you have enough length for your ring. When you have the length that you need for your finger and are exiting your last delica, you'll needle through the 15, 2/8, and 15 here. And then needle back through the last delicas on the end. Retrace the thread path a few times. I'm going to finish off my thread by coming back into my peyote strip, following along my thread path through my beads, coming one direction, and then working my way back up the other way. And reversing direction, coming back this way. Just so as long as when you pull your thread between the beads, you can't see it. Just to secure my thread in the band. That way you don't have to knot it. Just trim it off. Enjoy your new beaded ring, and as always, I really hope you have a beautiful day.